Welcome to another Backyard Professor video. I'm Kerry Schertz, the Backyard Professor. I hope the wind isn't too bad on this mic. It's kind of breezy today. I'm out here above Kep's Crossing here in the Idaho high desert. I'm discussing this argument of the archaeology against the Book of Mormon. That the Book of Mormon has nothing archaeologically, historically, linguistically, textually. There's nothing that shows the Book of Mormon is an ancient, authentic record. That is what the critics argue. Against that argument, John E. Clark has a selection in the Bicentennial Conference at the Library of Congress. This is called The Worlds of Joseph Smith. It was published in 2006. John E. Clark is a Mesoamerican archaeologist and historian. What he says about the Book of Mormon and archaeology is extremely interesting. He says, in Mesoamerica, people had calendar systems. We know that now. Evidence of these natives' calendars is doubly interesting because the critics have accused Joseph Smith of just simply stealing the calendar information out of the View of the Hebrews in 1825. Does that fit, however, is the question. The Mesoamericans were consummate record keepers and timekeepers. One of their views, one of their interpretations of time was the 400-year period called a Baktun. This same type of calendar keeping shows up in many places in the Book of Mormon, interestingly enough. He says, these Maya time cycles were not discovered until 60 years after the Book of Mormon was published. The Maya erected numerous stone monuments in their cities that recorded the lapse of time from 3114 BC, their year zero. These Maya calculations were based on counting by 20s instead of counting by 10s like we do in our modern day today. The Book of Mormon, the major cycle of Maya time, was a 400-year period called a Baktun. The Book of Mormon records several references to a significant 400-year prophecy, consistent with this idiosyncratic Mesoamerican calendar practice. I've got the footnote circled back here. I want to find it and read the references in the Book of Mormon for you. Alma 45:10, Helaman 13:9, 2 Nephi chapter 26, 9 through 10, Mormon 8 and 6, and Moroni 10:1. That's that 400-year Baktun mentioned in the Book of Mormon. That fits the Mesoamerican timekeeping context. It's nowhere in the View of the Hebrews. Joseph Smith could not have possibly got it there. And he didn't necessarily invent it, because now we find it in real history. The similarity in recording time in Mesoamerica and the Book of Mormon is reinforced by each group's parallel narratives of sequential civilization. Historic similarities include time, place, and content. And you can't see this chart, I know you can't. This is on page 90 and 91. This chart charts the Book of Mormon civilizations with what we now know as the classic Mesoamerican civilizations. The Jaredite culture in time matches the Olmec culture in Mesoamerica in a rough sort of way. The city of Zarahemla and the city of Nephi parallel the Highland Maya cities in their times when they originated, approximately 500 BC, and their demise of the lowland Maya cities and the Highland Maya cities, their era of destruction or abandonment was in the century 400 to 500 AD, exactly as the Book of Mormon says happened to the Nephites' destruction at that same time. So there is a correlation. Not that the Nephites were the Mayans. That's not what he's arguing. But there's a connection, a correlation between the Mesoamerican rise and demise of the civilizations with those found in the Book of Mormon. There's also a correlation to a calendar. Very interesting. He says about populations in the Book of Mormon that have been mocked and made fun of. This is on page 92 and 93. He says, we're not dealing with a yesterday's newspaper. We're dealing with an ancient book. But it's remarkable how scholars and archaeologists now have recognized that the Aztecs inflated their war numbers for the record. They described armies of 200,000 soldiers plus their support personnel. This same size is the size the Book of Mormon says the Nephite armies were. 200,000. Very interesting, isn't it? Mesoamerica was the most densely populated spot in the Americas and had millions of inhabitants. Were you aware of that? That is the archaeological consensus right now, the historical verity of it. This is an order of magnitude that supports the general plausibility of Book of Mormon demography and geography. Crude population profiles can be constructed for the Jaredites and the lowland Olmecs. The Olmec population grows and falls in respectable parallel to that of the Jaredites' reported increases and decreases in population. So in terms of its claim for lands, peoples, populations, and chronology, the Book of Mormon gets better than passing marks. That is fascinating to know. He goes on with many things. Let me share one of the recent trends, and then that'll be enough. I hope the wind's not too bad for you. As seen by science, the Book of Mormon is stronger today than it was in the 1830s, 1840s, 1880s, 1920s. Right now in this new era, the science of the Book of Mormon is really doing quite well. Claims in the book, once thought to be absurd, have been confirmed in recent years, including evidence in the Old World of steel swords and metal plates for the right time and the right place. And in the New World, there have been found a strain of domesticated barley, cement, military regalia, assorted weapons, Hebrew words, evidence of reading and writing, and multiple expectations for geography and history. Overall, the cultures described in the Book of Mormon fit much better in Mesoamerica than in New York for any century. So the argument that the Book of Mormon has nothing in its favor, nothing going for it, that argument is simply false.